so everybody is an animal, like a talking animal, like a walking, talking animal, but there's also like, there's real animals.
Okay.
So like, it's weird because like you have a pet bird like in a cage, but like your best friend is also like a talking
That's
like
like
bird.
That's like a conflict of interest.
It is. It's screwed up, man. It's ridiculous.
Well, I don't know if I'd say
Listen,
it's
I have to
ridiculous.
do
I think it's just
I have to do this review in like 2 minutes, and the game is just a mess. Like there's real animals, there's talking animals. It's impossible. I can't do
I
it.
think you're focusing on this animal thing a little too
No,
much.
listen. It's so important. It breaks the whole meta of the game. How are you even supposed to like think about the characters?
I mean, I think
It's insane. It's madness. I can't do it. Hey everyone, Brendan here, and welcome to Heads Up Display. Night in the Woods is a Kickstarter-funded indie adventure game by first-time developers Infinite Fall. You play as Mae Borowski, a recent college dropout who has returned to her slowly degrading hometown of Possum Springs, hoping to reconnect with her old high school friends and return to her relatively comfortable yet aimless life there. As Mae, you explore Possum Springs, talk to your neighbors, hang out with your old friends, and discover what's changed and what stayed the same in the 2.5 years since Mae left college. Oh, and there's something in the woods. The first thing I noticed about Night in the Woods is its wonderful sense of atmosphere. The crappy yet quaint little town of Possum Springs is a beautifully realized location, and exploring its streets and outskirts gives off a warm sense of nostalgia, thanks in no small part to the art direction. The game has this flat, handcrafted look that evokes the style of a children's book, making the environments and characters feel simple yet timeless. The visual design of the game does an incredible job of pulling you into the world and keeping you there, and I don't think Night in the Woods would be nearly as engaging without it. Let's move on to the gameplay. Night in the Woods is very heavily story-based, meaning that apart from some very light platforming around Possum Springs, some sparse and shockingly easy puzzles, and the occasional little minigame here and there, you're mostly going to be reading text and pressing A. The minigames and platforming are inoffensive at worst, but they do help in a small way to break up long story sections. As opposed to Night in the Woods' obvious inspiration, Square Enix's Life is Strange, where your actions affect how the story progresses, the story in Night in the Woods is almost completely linear apart from a few very minor character encounters. While it's not inherently a bad thing to have a more focused story, it would have been nice to be able to make a more distinct mark on the narrative. The game progresses in a series of days, and on each day you explore Possum Springs, talking to its residents and hanging out and going on small adventures with your old friends. This cycle means that you'll be traversing the same locations over and over every day. I believe this to be the developer's way of mimicking the monotony of a post-college life in a small town, but it's hard not to want a bit more. The game also starts off at a snail's pace, taking at least an hour and a half or so for its first big plot event to occur, which I'm sure will drive off less patient players. That's where my criticism ends, however. After a while, I wrapped myself up in a blanket and let myself get lost in the lovingly crafted world of Possum Springs. As the story progressed, I slowly began to discover that Night in the Woods is much more than just a cozy romp through a quaint little game world. This is all thanks to the writing and the characters, which I can say are both excellent in a way rarely seen in video games. I stated before that Night in the Woods has the aesthetic of a children's storybook. Well, I can assure you that despite its looks, the game is definitely not for kids. Night in the Woods tackles topics such as drug use, alcoholism, debt, homelessness, anxiety, depression, suicide, domestic abuse, sexuality, acceptance, mental illness, death, mourning, religion, the nature of God, and even the meaning of life itself. Amazingly, Night in the Woods manages to create dialogue about all of these serious and often existential topics in an incredibly mature, natural, and relatable way without ever feeling pretentious or overbearing. In fact, I feel that the game does an even better job of discussing these difficult topics than Life is Strange, which is quite the accomplishment to say the least. The way the cutesy art style of the characters juxtaposes some of the game's heavier moments is striking in a way that just has to be played to be experienced. In conclusion, while I believe it's mediocre as a video game, I feel that the true magic of Night in the Woods lies in its value as a piece of interactive storytelling. Each and every character and line of dialogue feels meaningful and genuine, and the visual style perfectly supports that genuine atmosphere. If you allow it to, Night in the Woods will take hold of your heart and refuse to let go. Heads Up Display gives Night in the Woods 4 stars, along with my own personal recommendation. Oh, and Greg rules, okay? Hey guys, thanks for watching. For more great content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That's all from me. I'm Brendan, and this has been Heads Up Display. Do you see this? There's like a little blurriness right here.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Oh, no, 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 I see it. It's like there's like some schmutz on the mirror. Yeah, look. There's like schmutz.
I don't think...
See that?